Today I'm introducing apparel designer Mary Mozzetti. Tell me a little bit about your childhood. Did you always want to be an apparel designer?
I think I did. When I was little, I would often alter the clothing that I had, whether it was making a hem shorter or cutting off the buttons. And when I was 15, I took a sewing class at Camp Couture with Project Runway star Alexandria von Bromson. She was on Project Runway at the time, and her mother, who had taught her how to sew, was teaching me how to sew. Ever since that first class, I was just hooked on sewing and I wanted to learn more. And from there, I took classes with her 3 times a week or so. And eventually, I was an instructor there and then managing the pop-up shop for their store when I was 16. I think fashion design is something that's always been inside of me, something that I've always had a passion for.
So after high school, you went to FIDM in San Francisco. Why did you decide to go to San Francisco versus LA or New York?
I think the main reason was because my roots are here. I was living with my family at the time in San Mateo, so the commute to San Francisco was much easier, and financially it was already a burden for me to go to school. I had to apply for scholarships. I received 3 scholarships and I was able to finance my first year at FIDM. San Francisco was, yes, a smaller campus, but because of that, you were able to make stronger connections with the faculty, the teachers, your cohorts. I think in hindsight, it was a beneficial decision.
So what did you learn at FIDM?
So I received my associate's degree in fashion design, and that degree was mainly hands-on skills such as pattern drafting, sewing, draping, some computer-aided fashion design, and then I went on to do my Bachelor's of Science in Business Management. And the reason I chose business management was because I wanted to have both a creative background and a business background. I feel more confident in terms of what I can bring to the table and what I can offer companies when I'm working. I'm not only able to design, but I'm also able to sell it. I think having both a creative background and a business background is very beneficial as a designer, because anyone can design something, but you need to be able to sell it in order to make it profitable. If you have a business, it has to be profitable. So it's important to know how to run a business and know how to market a design. And that's what I've learned from FIDM, is not only creating, but also selling.
During all 4 years of FIDM, you also worked full-time as an assistant fashion designer. How did you accomplish so much in 4 years? I mean, did you sleep? What was your schedule like?
I would be working all night, and I would be messaging my friends and saying, "Are you still working? Are you guys still up working on a project or a final?" I'd be up until maybe 4:30, 5 in the morning, just working constantly. I mean, a design is not done until it's done. And then I would go to sleep for half an hour to an hour, literally, and then I would get up and go back to school and do it all over again. That was mainly the design program. The bachelor's program, it wasn't so bad, but it was still a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of reviewing portfolios, reviewing presentations, running things over and over again until it was perfect. And I've always had a job. Ever since I was 11, I was volunteering. I was working part-time through high school. I was working 2 to 3 jobs even during high school and my time in FIDM. And then I eventually moved on to Zumiez, and I was working there for 2 years. And that was one of the best decisions I made. Truly an education. Just the people there are wonderful teachers. So many people that really taught me so much about the industry customer service and things that you really don't know unless you actually do it yourself. You know, I worked on holidays, I worked on Black Friday, New Year's, the whole thing, and a lot of hard work.
So why did you leave Zumiez, an action sport company, to take a position with Jake, a suit company? Why suits?
With FIDM, the main thing that they teach you in the design program, it's all focused on women's apparel. And that's what I initially wanted to go into. That's what I still want to go into. I love women's apparel. I'm a woman, so it's easier to design for a woman. But I wanted to get the experience and education in designing for men.
How did your position with Jake and then Tristyn prepare you for your current position with Vesey?
Jake was a little more avant-garde, a little more modern with his lines, with the construction, the fit, and textiles that he chose for the suits that he designed, which was refreshing because you don't really see that often in men's suiting. And then with Tristyn brands, Tristyn found me, and then through her I received a job with a Vesey exclusive. That's kind of how it all tied in, but fundamentally pretty much all the same.
Have you worked in women's suiting?
I have worked in women's suiting. It wasn't as common. Jake had women's suits, gorgeous suits, and pants or skirts. With my current employer, we do some blouses here and there, some jackets, not necessarily full suits, but a few tailored women's garments, yeah.
You mentioned that you're interested in making the switch to women's apparel.
Yeah.
Why, after all those years? Because you're a woman, or?
Well, I think because, yes, I'm a woman and I love women's clothing. But that's also what I initially set out to do as a designer. I initially wanted to design women's apparel.
So have you ever considered creating your own brand?
I have considered it, and I think for now I'm just going to continue learning and gaining more experience before I make a decision as big as that.
I think this concludes
Is
it.
it okay? I hope it's okay.